Thank you for visiting. We really appreciate everybody that checks us out on Facebook and YouTube and otherwise. This is Prolific Press with some of the world's best poets doing our March 2025 poetry reading. We're going to begin with a poem by a poet who recently died. His name was Bill Melton. He was a friend of our press. So we're going to remember him this morning and then we're going to move on. So let me share my screen so you can all see what I see. And we're going to remember him through this piece that he wrote in Dual Coast magazine called Mother Nature. I learned to love nature as a child, watching my father lovingly till the soil, coaxing the best from plants or gently tame wild creatures. He taught me not to defy, test, or question nature, rather live in harmony with her. I had a mother who always paused to admire sunsets and tenderly tended flowers in quiet appreciation. I was taught and nurtured by Mother Nature. When I tested and broke her rules, I suffered the consequences, but learned her boundaries. Nature not only molded me, raised my awareness, tested my observation, rewarded my patience, but helped me become a man. Now I see her through different eyes, as old friends sharing and communicating in silence, comfortable in each other's presence. And I still learn from her, mild in nature, now ingrained instead of separate. I breathe in her smell and taste life with appreciation. I no longer look at her, but look inward through her, building on the quiet lessons I learned over the decades. Life still moves slowly and deliberately for nature, although now accelerating for me as the years accumulate, and I recognize a deeper, more profound appreciation for how I have been enriched by the awareness of nature's bounty. Beauty, honesty, and solitude. Soon, under the peaceful quiet of her sod, I will rest and return to her the elements she loaned me that I needed for this short life. It is then that finally I will finally be able to express my thanks to Mother Nature. Thank you, Bill, for
Beautiful.
that. And to it's a peculiar pleasure, honor to publish other people's works. Um, and so, with that in mind, I am going to read a very quick piece. It's really not very polished, but I wrote it for Bill, and I just want to have it in my library so I never forget him. It's called The Blank Burning Pages for Bill Melton. The page is white as winter, white as bone, white as static when the broadcast ends. Somewhere, another voice has gone quiet, a match struck once and gone out without anyone noticing. Poets are the beginnings, like Aries, burst into the dark, carrying our own fire, like a secret we could never keep. It was always like this. We wrote to stop dying and died anyway. The poets do go first, always, too loud for the world and too soft for it. And when they leave, they take something that does not grow back. You can hear it at night if you listen, the hum beneath the silence, the shape of something that should be there but isn't. What do we do when all the poets are gone? How long can we keep burning for ghosts, still whiteness for poems never written in the vacuum that remains? I mourn less for death and more for how the world dims each time a poet leaves, one voice at a time, and no one remembers what life sounded like. All right. Robert Whalen is coming in. We'll get him seated and then we'll go to Bob Moreland. Okay. Okay, Bob.
Hmm. I'm Bob Moreland. I'm from Carroll Beach, Wisconsin. And I have, do we get three today, Glenn? Or
Sure.
short?
Yeah.
Um, I will start with light because my wife thinks I'm too serious. For my friends out there that take the challenge as formalist, this is a poem that's called an alliteration. And the idea is, in seven lines, to have lots of alliteration. So bear with me, it's a little bit tongue in cheek. Prairie Spring Ballet for the first day of spring. As coneflowers curtsy, west wind, melodious meadowlark croons chorus, while green grasses slowly sway, gallant goldfinch attempts aria. Red robin wrestles worm as redwing warbles, head held high, pleasant prairie blooms, splendid spring. Thank you. And this is another little quick form that you may wish to try. It's 14 words. It's called a septilette. You can look that one up. So, 14 words. This is called March Madness. To those who love to fly a kite, like a lion, blustery roars, bright colors, sheet tied tail string, laughter, sheer delight. And finally, my inspiration here, Sean is not with us, but this is an attempt at a Haydn. This is called At Lincoln's Feet. He sits on the penultimate top granite step of the Lincoln Memorial, embracing the coldness and staring out into the early morning darkness across the reflecting pool, past the arches and 56 columns of the World War II Memorial, and the lighted obelisk of the Washington Memorial in the far distance. 50 lighted American flags, one for each state, flex and flap in the freshening northwest wind. He ponders, looking to the south just beyond the Ninth Street Bridge, Robert E. Lee's former home, now Arlington National Cemetery, inters 400,000 now equal in death. Freedmen, Apollo and Challenger astronauts, presidents, and soldiers. At the tomb of the unknown soldier in the darkness, the old guard keeps constant watch in the absence of spectators just before dawn. Looking back east, he focuses on the woods to the left of the reflecting pool, knowing that in that slope beyond, obsidian panels descend and rise again etched with 55,000 names forgotten. On panel 46 West, at shoulder height, is the name of his boyhood hero who died trying to save one of his own pilots. He has stood there weeping the loss of one who truly believed in his God and country. The lightning sky foreshadows the dawn to come. Lincoln believed in the Constitution and a United States. His words haunt the man as he realizes the fragility of it all, that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. As the pink dawn burst into lightning day, a single tear falls, and with a shudder he fears for his country. Freedom born, blood shed, republic, can you keep it? Sunrise, a new day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Lynette Esposito, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sure can.
There is a new publication out called Glass Post that is accepting things. Just thought I'd mention it. They did take one of mine, so I'm proud of that. And I have three. And Glenn said we should write something about Aries. And by the way, I'm Lynette Esposito from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And New Jersey has a lot of sunshine today, which is great. So here it goes. It's called Cardinal Fire. The first day of spring is March's gift, with all the surprises and madness that comes, with the ides and birds and mustard-colored leaves left over from winter. As Aries leads us into summer, Mars glories in its redness. The fire that kept us warm in the previous season's white cold is raised up on cardinal wings to capture the hot golden rays of sunlight, cast off as if they were a god's fantasy, to land on our uplifted, hope-filled faces, ready to welcome summer. That's it. The second one is summer wine. I stood in the vineyard eating sweet grapes with you. It was early produce before the winemaking stolen from the vine, as if we were hungry birds. 4 summers, 1 child, 2 glorious final sips of youth, and winter came unexpected. I could say I died on the wine. Excuse me. I could say I died on the vine, but I am summer wine caught in memory, time, kissing the air as if you are in it, and drinking the fresh fruit harvested, bottle after bottle, with unquenchable thirst. The end.
Very nice.
And one more, can I or not?
Yeah, please.
All right, imagining. If the birds would come, I could fly with them, but here on the balcony, I cannot even reach the tips of their wings. The orange horizon disappears into the ocean. You tug my nightshirt and say, Mommy. I lift you up, fly you in my arms as you reach for high places. We waltz toward the bed where I fling your laughing self through the screen of time and limitations. You chirp, I am a bird. I am a plane. I am a feather. That's it.
Very nice. Thank you for that. All right. Gloria Caviglia, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gloria. I live in upstate New York, and I have 2 poems today. One is entitled Joya, which is my sister. Scattered nonpareil freckles, red curls entangled in complex direction, not knowing where to turn next. She's dreaming in technicolor again. And the constellations of the universe explode in a joyous cacophony of sound as she awakens to a new day.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote this just a little bit after COVID, when we couldn't travel. And this actually happened on a flight, well, when I arrived in Puerto Rico. The red-eye flight landed into sunrise. Bleary-eyed passengers made their way down the stairs, hurried along by hazmat-suited employees with plastic shields covering their faces, the sun glinting off of the shield, making them a faceless anonymity. They were herded into queues, those with a green barcode into one, orange barcode into another. Lucky passengers with the orange code were free to go. Those with a green code remained, waiting in line to be processed. When processing was complete, they were required to be tested within the time limitations or face a fine. No one disputed this.
No one
Thank you.
All right. Was that your last one? All right. Thank you very much. Very good. Helga Kidder, please.
Okay. I'm going to read two poems. The first one, Lightning. Like the Turner painting hanging in my study, clouds knitted tight, squeeze stitches of light over the neighborhood. Their edges blackened like loam as forsythias and azaleas kneel close to earth. Cherry trees, pink ruffled blooms riot the garden, like people resisting buttered up laws, searing their livelihoods. Clouds shift and crack as lightning blazes the sky. Rain needles fresh air, calms the convocation of blossoms. They dream shaking of floods, of history repeated. And this poem I dedicate to my daughter, and it has an epigraph by Sappho, love like a mountain wind upon an oak. It's called The Woodworker. She glides her hands over oak or pine boards, planing and framing pieces for a table or a chair, eyes firm on the creation in her mind. She grew years like a tree, adds new layers, rings of strength. As toddler, she hugged sourwood and sweet gum, babbled her first words to tree trunks. At 6, she hammered pieces of yellow pine for a birdhouse, and at 12, she built a deck in the woods where she sulked like a teenager. Once seduced by Sylvia, the spirit of wood, her love expanded to exotic mahogany, ebony with striped grain, rare resin-infected agar wood, the wood of gods. When nothing in the world comforts her but the touch of wood, she cuts lumber to size, shapes and joins it, answering an ancient desire, a mystery, a love that rushes through her like a mountain wind upon an oak. Thank you.
That was really quite nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right. Michael Flanagan, please.
I have two today. One's Tonka prose, and the other one is just a Tonka. In War of the Worlds, we're driving from upstate back home to Deer Valley. There weren't many radio channels to choose from in the Rockies, but we got lucky. WGN suddenly dropped in with big band music. Then a voice broke in to report explosions in New Jersey. Oh, yes, that spooky Halloween night, Orson Welles took us far, far away. The End of the World Tumbling from the Wyoming Ethers, an old radio show, when out in the back of beyond, it all felt possible. And the tanka is Christmas Day beside your stone, we sang Silent Night, but got stuck after the first line. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Wonder if I have ink on my nose now as I'm using my fountain pen and it's disagreeing with me. Okay, Emily Strauss, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emily. I live in Southern Oregon, way out here in the sticks. And I never remember your prompts, so sorry about that. I have a couple of poems I can read. Let's see if I can figure out how to share them. Let me see if I can do that. Let me start with this one. Share. Yes, I think it works. Okay, called Indian Paintbrush, which is the genus Castelleja. It wasn't as if native women dipped flowers in blood or iron oxide to paint tourist trinkets for sale in some Southwest curio shop. The flowers were edible in moderation. They stored selenium in their bracts. Instead, women colored sand and rocks with mineral pigments mixed with bear fat, thick musk-scented paste applied by hand in slow circles. It was the ancestors who took handfuls of flowers, brushed the land in spring, carpets of red, orange, yellow, favored by hummingbirds. The ancients painted for the people, spreading light as snow receded high in the mountain meadows, a wash of color like the blush on young cheeks at a dance, girls nearly ready to be chosen, dressed in woven wool shawls and beads, flowers set aside for the meal. Let me try another one. No,
Emily,
that's not.
Emily, could you unview the paragraph symbols? Would be clearer for us. You know,
I understand that. Sorry, it's just generally the way I do my.
Yeah, it would be great if you could, though. It's just that little icon at the top, the paragraph symbol, would be nice for the record too.
All right, let me see if I can figure out how to do that. That'll be the day. Let me see. I do what now?
On
You
the,
go to the top row of icons, and it's about the third from the right, near where the word find is. To the left, there's 3, and there's a paragraph symbol near the top of your screen, a little to the right of center.
Yeah,
All
but
you
I've
do is-
got this bar over here that's preventing me from seeing that. And I don't know how to get rid of that bar. I will remember it for next time. I'm terribly
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
I will do that next time. Sorry. Okay, this is called Fence Line with Ashes. At the end of Garth's Lane, at the top of the hill, the very last house that backs up to university land acquired in 1884. Walk out back where the pasture slopes away, down to the wire fence hanging on crude sticks. Look across to the coast range with fog pouring over, or down to cattle grazing. Watch 3 coyotes follow a worn trail through the grass. Today, get up close. Kneel down in the weeds. Put your face right above the dirt. Look carefully. Notice the thread of white ash lined up under the wires in the heat and dust, scattering a little in the wind. By fall, her ashes will blow over the golden pastures. Mother will return to the earth. no marker or sign of her passing, as if she never left the place, still sitting on the old deck, the house sold, new owners busy with new plans, white paint over the old mahogany. She will lie on the contours lightly, still close to home, through greening winter rains. Next spring, a few poppies may sprout by the fence. That'll be it for today. I will remember the paragraph marks next time. Thank you for your
Sure.
time.
Oh, thank you. It didn't distract me. I I agree that it looks cleaner, but don't worry about it. We all enjoyed your work so much, and it was just lovely. Dennis Malsby, please.
Guys, I've got a high bun for you. I really like high bun because it sharpens up my prose and also sharpens my poetry. And when you find the synchronicity between the poem and the prose, it really gives you a sense of satisfaction. Midnight on the deck. Velvet dark embraces the lawn, sweeps up the cold tingle, my legs, chest, and face. The clipped smell of grass blood soaks nostrils. Moon and stars flutter. A shadow rabbit lopes across the lawn to invade the neighbor's flower bed. I set a tall Pilsner glass on the umbrellaed table, lacy beer foam cozy on the bottom. A meteor shower sprays rocket artillery trails across the sky. Fireflies wink from air and grass tops. Muzzle flashes in a jungle ambush. Tumbled ragdoll bodies of the soul fled flush my soldier's mind with agony. Nocturnal breezes run female fingers through my hair. Specters of women past giggle, moan, and sob. The snare of beauty, stab of love. Age shakes my white hair and pits a lifetime of regrets against successes. Past events flicker in silent film noir. No balance achieved, I rock to soothe the tatters. The rabbit shade flits out of azaleas and coneflowers, head and long ears turned toward me. Amber eyes glower. It whispers, there is still time to become human. And that's all I've got for you today.
Wow, that was really, really special. Thank you for that. All right. I am looking. Oh, Carrie. Carrie, introduce yourself and you're up.
There I am.
There
Can
you
you
are.
hear me?
Sure. Yep.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Rawlinson. I'm living in the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia, Canada. I've got 3 poems today, probably. I'll start with a lighthearted one, if I can figure out how to share my screen. Share. Is that it? Can you
There
see
you
that?
go. I
All
sure
right.
can.
It's called Spring's Lament. The sun is sulking. Her turgid ego concocts these annual wrongings, and as I lurk underground, longing for her to arch and spread, she jerks darkness down like a hockey sock over her head. She's covered up in a dun-colored muffler and thick woolen mittens. She's in a snit. In gloomy shrouds she hides, lying on the horizon behind thick clumped clouds of gray. She sighs, hardly rising. She's piled a white duvet high up over her lethargic rump. She has the hump. She scorns me, hissing, I won't come out. Piss off, spring, with your plump newborn kittens and your long-lashed lambs and your outrageous lime green buds. And she slides herself back under the covers. But who invited in this frigid lover? Because while she whined, old man Winters skulked right in, with his icicle spittle, his dandruff pate, his frost-bitten chin, and furthermore, his turncoat whore. The sun can't grasp that she is accountable for seasons. It's her task to shine on time, not mine. That's her mistake, that and her deplorable pout. But as she briefly wakes, the hem of her nightgown is peeking out. So I decide, what the hell, and set it alight. And as her eiderdown and bed catch fire, she leaps up in flames with a shout. The entire sky's engulfed in blazing red. Maybe now she'll relent and stay out.
Very good.
Thank you. Oops. Okay. It's not a spring one, but it's sort of a renewal, I guess, called A Cottontail Wish. And it's based on an article I read where a bunny rabbit they thought was extinct has actually been rediscovered. A ghost, we declared the Omeltimi rabbit to be, a specter, extinct for over a century, much like humanity's hopes for tranquil forests of peace, or wishes for kind and civil futures. Much like streets and communities devoid of bomb dust and violence, or like babies raised without the electronic burn of tainted words and water, free of feeding from baskets of gang blood and beatings, free of cravings for poison to bloat blue veins, free and safe from the barren human curse. Extinct as a species, we assumed. But what? Look here. 2 soft ears appear. Body a blur of nut brown fluff, tail tucked, bobbing along through twilight conifers of Sierra Madre del Sur, as if it knows it was never lost, just misplaced somewhere behind our urban jumble's frantic black curtain. I feared love's gentle hands and pure face might be sold out too, but now I'm not so certain. Perhaps they'll also reappear 120 years on, demonstrating that one should always hold on to faith. For time is but a flash of cottontail in an earthy glade, and surely, surely, not all good things will be lost without a trace.
Time is but a flash of cottontail. Boy, I like that. That was really that was well written. Very good.
Thank you. And I guess if you have time for one more, I don't know.
Sure, please.
Oh, okay. Let's try that one. Okay, so I come from the Southern Hemisphere, and spring in Cape Town is in September. So this one is called September Cape Town after E.E. Cummings. Spring is like a perhaps hand. Quiet day, dove gray, indolent day, waiting for robin's demise. Winter chill wicking from Table Mountain down to my windowsill, which I, wrapped in warm woolens, half watch. I turn away, speak a word to a waiting winter friend, a sharpening at the angled eye. His hair whips, a gold-spun tangle. Sudden stark, an errant spark rents a fiery gash in the wallowing sky. Sun. Red flash erupts from the window box. Geranium. Clocks jump. Buds popcorn on the branch. Grass bucks its frosty bridle. Birds burst madcap band. Flowers gush spectrum drunk. And spring slam dunks its brass-knuckled hand through the window pane at last and shatters all the glass.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So strong. I think A lot of nice comments. Hope that you come back every month forever and ever.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. James Bethel, please.
Thank you, Glenn. My name is James Bethel, and I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Regarding the Aries thing, just a quick note. I was born on the cusp 1 hour before Aries and the spring solstice. My Pisces nature is often confused about where the shoreline actually is, and it quite often shows up in my poetry, as it does today. I have three for you, two relatively short and one a bit longer. This first one is entitled Quietly in a Wild Place. If you sit quietly in a wild place and listen, you may hear a poem. It's the same one, written in every hour for millions of years, without rhyme, without words, yet sung in a harmony that brings any human witness to tears. This one is a bit longer, maybe even longer than a bit. The title is Sounds Like. The morning traffic roar from I-244 4 blocks north of my cottage front porch blends into the winds now blowing from the Faroe Islands all the way into my silver maple. The robins, cardinals, jays, and doves have formed the morning backyard chorus to accompany their nest-building chores to the tune of chainsaws and leaf blowers arriving from the west. From the east, Sally, the silver-white neighbor's dog, barks with her dark sisters at a nighttime jogger, barely heard, but heard, passing on their side of the street. My New Balance boots break a recent pecan on the tarmac around the heron pond, where the geese and ducks continue to argue about the sound of the twilight hour. Ah, yes, the twilight hour. The one where trees hold their green breath. That one long moment before sighing into the black of night. Entre chien et loup, shepherds once called it, while photographers still call it twixt dog and wolf. Birds call it silent. A wind chime has paused in its harmonious clang, like a moment of justice in an eternity of Libran balance, as have those two mockingbirds who've been chattering incessantly all evening with my neighbor's guitar, which has also gone silent. The world is struck dumb by beauty. Light speaks, and all falls still in honor of that holy voice, always there, but just now heard. The last note of the chimes honors the last breath as the light fades on my neighbor's door closing. And now, in nests atop streetlights, all creation continues all at once, and the birds have fallen asleep.
Mm.
And then last, appropriately titled Enough. And the prompt was composed some time ago. We do not learn wisdom and love. We only encounter catalysts to remember them. Enough. Have my substitutes for this moment served to bring me to a better, more okay one? If only constantly reinforced and manipulated until I think I know what will make me happy, and I am almost always wrong. It's not like I haven't known this for quite some time. Speaking of moments, right now I'm recalling who said we spend our lives fishing only to realize it wasn't fish we were after. Thoreau learned to listen to his tongue. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Anytime Walden comes to mind, it's got to be a good poem. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Peter J. King, please.
Okay.
I gotcha.
I've never introduced myself, so I'll just say I'm from Boston. That's the real one, not the new American one. But currently living in Churchill, which is a tiny village in the Oxfordshire Cotswolds. I had no idea about the prompt, so I don't think any of these is about the spring or Aries. But
completely optional.
Well, not in my case because I didn't know about it, but next time maybe. So these are three more of a series that I've read from before. Each one begins with the first line of a poem from one of the City Lights Pocket Poets series, one poem for each of the first 60. I've done 52 so far. One or two of these, I think, are fairly recent, so maybe even first drafts. Where am I then? Right. So starting off with one from Charles Upton, his book Panic Grass, as a dying man. As a dying man gathers up all his life and tries to unsnag every place where he lost hold, veered way off course and found himself entangled. Gulls dive, distract him, aiming for the jelly of his eyes, the red vibration of his tongue, the thin, soft flesh above his heart. And as his tired fingers lose their grip upon the piece of jetsam that has kept his head above the brine for 60 years or so, he just has time to think, but why has nothing flashed before my eyes? And then he's gone. No splash, no ripple, only an old black branch of wood and some frustrated, hungry gulls. The second is Ginsberg, from his little book, The Fall of America, Poems of These States. This is from the poem A Vow. So the first line, I will haunt these states. I will haunt these states, will throw tectonic plates against the walls, smash dust bowls, rattle chains, howl at the moon. I will talk to you forever vengeful and forever guilty, moaning through the chimney pots and mourning beauty. I will thrust my beard at you that is black, grey streaked and bristling, will show you a world in a balding brain pan. I will haunt these fleeting states of mind, will do such things, I will be the terrorist of the earth. And the last one, now I don't really know how to pronounce his name, Kamal Daoud. I don't suppose he'll ever hear this, so it doesn't matter. From his poem Deep River in Her Voice, from the language of saxophones. And the original poem is dedicated to Billie Holiday, so I've kept that. The first line, Divine Daughter Speaks. Divine daughter speaks in dark blue accents, ebony her consonants, her vowels of silver gilt. Hallowed lady of the moon, low tones of satin wood, she breathes of love, of sorrow. Timeless daylight, tenor sax that shoots a golden stream into her tired veins and carries her, immortal, to her lonely tomb. Thank you.
Wow, I have to say, that last piece was exceptional, wasn't it? That was just so well written. It just grabbed me. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Linda Imbler.
Hi, everyone. I'm Linda from Wichita, Kansas. I have two, one springy and one semi-springy poem today. First one's called Vigil Within the Vernal Equinox. Cool bravery and evidence of valor observed. Bold conferences held using voices spoken in silver tones. The tender aspects of human nature bound together, woven together, along with infinite compassion written within the text. Relaxed and graceful poses sit as active ideas, promising roles developing the first-rate importance of, the lasting significance of, the warm divinity of legendary kings within a momentous spring equinox. The next one is called Bird Landscape. We enter walls fortified by disillusionment that belongs to us all, a distressed area where portable gravestones lie prone, and the silence indicates signs of fatigue from trying to conceal the purpose of this place, a retreat into wretchedness while listening to artless stories from the gravediggers. But place bird roost atop these same walls and watch the spirits being placated. Observe the enriching effect as time goes on, as an amazing array of coloring bursts forth, birthing new keen awareness of these surroundings, as if seeing this environment for the first time, projecting a new view of white marble. View this space as it becomes a living landscape, a remarkable place where birds, hopes, dreams, and prayers can fly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That marble, that just really grabbed me. That was very just poignant. The image, so iconic. Dave Kelly, please.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm joining you from Gloucestershire in the UK. You may have seen me previously and when I was living in Dublin, but I've moved recently. And I'm going to give you just one haibun which touches upon spring. It's called Special Relativity. As a child, whenever I was free to wander the local neighbourhood, the hours transformed spontaneously into wood smoke or pollen grains and drifted away unnoticed. Yet I also remember the excruciation of boredom, stuck in a sterile room with nothing to do, watching second hands trying to forge a path through the thick treacle of trapped time. Flood tide, so much life to live in each moment. I don't know when things changed. Maybe the disappearance of clocks is to blame. Everything's digital now. Respite rather than ennui awaits me in empty interludes. A disorganized set of thoughts can take a whole afternoon to sift through. To my horror, time is disappearing in ever larger pieces. Perhaps I'll wake up one morning and find it all gone. Ebb tide, the sand in the hourglass, draining.
Thank you. I really like that tonal shift when it changes to, you say, I don't know when things changed. There's a real shift in that piece that works so well at that point in the poem that I really enjoyed. Thanks for that. Um, Doug Lanzo.
Great. Thank you. Honored to be here. I'm from Chevy Chase, Maryland, author and poet. If it's okay to give a brief update, since I haven't joined for a while, I was really honored last year for my novella I Have Lived to be named Best Novella of 2024 at the American Book Festival Awards. So that was great honor.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have two poems to share. I didn't know that spring was the theme, so but the battle for Iwo Jima occurred during March, so I guess it's somewhat fitting for the time period. And just wanted to share it. It hasn't been published yet, but shared it with a few people who are granddaughters, grandsons, and sons of people who fought in World War II, and it triggered like memories that they shared with me. So I thought I would share it today. Sounds from Iwo Jima, dedicated to the more than 6,800 Marines who gave their lives with valor to our country in the battle for Iwo Jima. Uncommon valor was a common virtue, Admiral Chester Nimitz. Walking on the beaches, I hear whispers in the air, soulful cries of struggle where men's lives did disappear. Wailing of sheer water as they circle black sand shore where thousands of Marines fought and perished in the war. Ascending cinder hills, I hear mortars whistling sound, series of explosions tearing up volcanic ground. From open mouths of caves explode sounds of guns and torch, firings from men's carbines, cries of bonsai by men scorched. Covering my eardrums, I hear unrelenting fire, spitting from machine guns mounted beneath razor wire. Battleship bombardment, booming broadsides from the sea, buzzing of our fighters strafing layers into debris. Nearing Suribachi, I uncover my rapt ears, hearing roars from thousands who release their heartfelt cheers. As our flag is planted on the mountain without fear, glorifying freedom, though the price for it was dear. And my second poem is called One Passing Wasp. And it's based on the account of a close friend. He stood atop a hill he had been climbing when he felt chest pain and panted just to breathe, staring blankly ahead, unsure of whether these were his last moments. A rabbit hopped closer, gazing up at his eyes as its nose crinkled, sensing something was wrong. Time seemed to slow and stretch, as if he could see each thought across his mind, approaching final sleep. How ludicrous, he thought, that my eyes lie locked with one of my yard's dumbest woodland creatures. Just as he was about to succumb to fate, a wasp alighted on his arm and stung him. Suddenly awakened, realizing he still remained alive, with pain pulsing through his body, he stumbled to his steps and made the wisest call. ER doctors told him several hours later that an embolism had traveled near his heart, one bubble burst away from claiming his life, and likely would have, had he gone untreated, standing in a trance, staring at a hair, until one wasp, by happenstance, providence, or fate, did fly his way.
Thank you for that. It's a fun way of visiting that scene that you painted for us so well. James Nicola, please.
Hello, everybody. I come to you from New York City. Out my window is New Jersey. And this just got published in a journal called Mr. Beller's Neighborhood. We were talking about blank verse before. It was written in blank verse. Got published as prose. Are you able to see it? I can't tell.
I cannot see anything.
Okay,
yet.
I thought I pressed share screen. It didn't, yeah, share. I got to click it again. Share. And then this one. Now I see you are screen sharing. It'll come up.
Mhm.
You can read along. So isn't that interesting? And I'm not the only one. Robert Penn Warren used to write in verse, and he won a Pulitzer Prize for a novel he originally wrote in verse. So anyway, so there's 40 minutes. Mr. Beller's Neighborhood. If you have any kind of piece about New York City. They're looking for him. So I thought I'd let you know that. He asked me to tell people, send him New York stories. 40 minutes. True story. There's the face of the statue mentioned in the poem. One day, I sent a prayer from my terrace, Manhattan Plaza, 43rd and 10th, 45th floor, facing the Hudson River, New Jersey, and the rest of the country, and aimed it roughly toward the object of or subject of the prayer, who was the one person in the world I should wish dead. His murder I had planned for years. If your blood's red and you believe in fairness, you would agree that in this I was justified. The murderous impulse, not the prayer. Thank God I did not execute this fantasy. I really mean thank God, by the way, for this nemesis had not been in my life for several years. I said these words out loud as I recall. Wherever you are, if you're still alive, I hope you're working out whatever it is you've needed to work out that made you such a mean and violent SOB to me. Not that I thought that there was any reason in particular that this sociopath would be searching his soul to make improvements. No, folks are folks. Anyway, 2 hours later, as I lay down to read, all of a sudden I felt a weight, a light weight, or a weight of light, of love, lying on top of me. From head to toe and everywhere in between, I shivered and perspired, but did not fear. It was as if I was attended by a spectral presence bathing me in God, goodwill, bonhomie, pureness, acceptance, even applause, like the Bernini statue of Maria Theresa in her ecstasy. The only words which might approximate what happened to me was a visitation by an angel. In 20 minutes, I started to write about it, so I would not later fool myself that I'd merely dreamt the whole experience. I had to know it happened. 20 minutes after that, the tears of joy, the ecstasy subsided. It lasted a total of 40 minutes. I wondered if my former nemesis had died without my having heard, and he, now ghost, received my prayer and was responding. When I checked with his family, though, I found out he was still alive. Whatever presence visited that day, ghost, angel, or whatever you want to call it, the person in my prayer clearly wasn't it. 15 years later, from out of the blue, I got a phone call from, you guessed it, him. He wanted to tell me that how he acted those years ago, he'd lately come to see. He must have in his DNA or bloodline certain sociopathic tendencies. He introduced these terms himself, not I. I did not want to talk to him, but could not hang up, so I just listened. It felt like doing battle with an angel, attending a devil that was no more. Not that he said, I'm sorry. Sociopaths can't say I'm sorry. Still, it was not nothing and totally unexpected. He went on for 40 minutes. Then I had to hang up because I was expecting an important call that evening for which I had promised to be available. But as I write these words, more than a decade later, 40 minutes does seem just about right. And I'll just parse this to say, true story. This is also a true story because you mentioned Walden. This is from my latest collection called Natural Tendencies, published by Cervena Barber Press out of Somerville, Massachusetts. It's near the end. All nature poems, Natural Tendencies. Check it out. Thoreau. There is a world invisible, if not a sea beyond, a place of quiet, deep, and still, a bottom of the pond. He measured the perimeter and calculated where, in theory, it should appear if it indeed were there. Though we are here, not there. And I have brought with me his book to sit above the lake and read while listening to the brook. I can't say why, but on arriving at the stream, I doff my shoes and socks and let my toes get wet with my socks off. Not that I'm in a madcap mood, it's just something to do. Then, barefoot, I stroll down the banks where I run into you. There, bubbling waters reach the pond. They're silenced at the base. I roll my trousers up, wade in, and splash my legs and face. Again, I can't say why, but see that I may never reach the center. But from any rill or river or a beach, I can affect a drop that's headed there eventually. That depths and centers might receive a molecule of me, which, as you say, may never join the center of a lake like Walden, but at least I might becalm a passing ache. Then, floating in the water, still, I see you on dry land and suddenly invite you in because I understand this wonderment, this universe, this galaxy, this sphere, this continent, this country, place, environment, this here. And though the center may not hold, if we together fill a hollow with our humble toes, possibly it will. And this is just a 6-word poem, also from Natural Tendencies. I won't flip the pages. But Lynn, Esposito talked about brightness and sunshine in New Jersey. So I've flagged this one up. It's called Bright Days. 6 words. So stand tall. Bright days. Bright days I see clearer, but clear nights farther. That's it for today. Thanks so much for listening and for being there and being
I love
wonderful.
listening to you, by the way. I would just love for you to narrate one of my books someday or something. It's almost entertaining. Just
I would be so happy to, because I love your stuff and I love all your stuff, you guys. And I can come when it's a 5th Saturday. Just so you know, I don't come the 1st and 3rd because I have my workshop, but I'm thinking of you every time I get the invite. So thank you, March, for having a 5th Saturday, and God bless you all.
Well, we would love to have you whenever we can get you. Debbie Walker Last, the shining face in that little box. It's time for you.
Hey, y'all. Hello.
Hey.
Okay, I have a story. It's a nonfiction story that I'm working on. And I know this isn't a workshop, but any tips on how it might end, I would greatly appreciate. This really happened to me, and it was just kind of like getting it down.
All right. Well, after the event's over, and we'll stick around and
Yeah, that'd be great.
spitball a little
That'd be
bit.
great. Okay, this is a love story about Austin and his grandmother, Belle, and how I made friends with another writer. Austin stands in my condo near a Georgia beach town, and for the first time I noticed how small it really is. He dwarfs everything in it, including the glass dining room table that holds my non-working computer, the reason he is here. Sent to me under protest by X, aka the horrible cable provider, after much self-testing, here he stands. Although X had cheerfully informed me that my setup had the all clear here, I still didn't have internet. On Monday, I had ultimately threatened to pack up my cable equipment, bring it to their office, and throw it on their customer no service counter. But now it's Thursday afternoon, and my window of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. closed as fast as my computer windows had closed on Sunday evening, never opening since. Waking up at 7:15 required an alarm, something I'm patently opposed to when at the beach, but I caffeinated and hoped for the best, taking deep breaths. I'm Austin, the robocall assigned technician said, X shirt and name badge in place, only 30 minutes late. Eager to explain my dilemma to him, I just blurted out, I'm a writer. I have my first deadline, so this has been frustrating. He nodded his head appreciatively. I'm a writer too, I get it. As he spoke, my heart unclenched. He described how, even as a child, world building had come naturally to him. He told me about his preference for making up characters and scenarios versus completing his assigned schoolwork, and how he once was sent to the principal's office over plagiarizing a story he had actually written. Writing is in my blood, passed down from my grandmother, Belle. She won a poetry prize and a certificate too in Baxley, Georgia, years ago. After we tried to Google her to no avail, Austin just called his grandmother, putting the phone on speaker. Hey, Grandma. Oh, hello, Austin. How are you, dear? I'm good. I told this lady here that writes poetry about your writing prize. Can we find your information on the internet anywhere? Oh, I don't know about that internet, Austin, but your mama does. She'll be here in a few minutes, and I'll ask her if I'm on there anywhere, or if she can at least take my certificate off the wall. Maybe she can take a picture of it. It's just too high for me to reach. Okay, Grandma, don't worry about it. Settle down. I'll call Mom later. Okay, Austin, she'll be here soon, she said, relieved. Love you, Grandma. Love you, son. Thanks for calling. Tell that nice lady thank you. Belle sounded so clear and sharp, I had to ask her age. Oh, she'll be 107 next month, he casually stated. 107, really? I said. Yes, people in my family live a long time, he explained. As he worked, we jabbered about writing and poetry, and he told me he had a self-published book, a children's book he was currently rewriting. It's on Amazon, but don't buy it until I rewrite it, though. It's going to be better. He explained he didn't know how to get into the mainstream press, and I told him about some open call writing websites, including those for fantasy and science fiction. Wow, this is going to change my life, he said. I asked him his age, and he said that he would turn 30 soon, an Aries. Great, I explained. That will probably help with the underrepresented writers category. Oh, I'm also half Egyptian, he offered, pointing to his curly hair. That's even better. Be sure to check these calls. Can I have your email? Excitedly, he put his email on my phone, and I immediately sent him a bunch of links. Knowing Baxley was rural, I asked, how did your family get to Baxley from Egypt? Yeah, well, my grandmother, she had an affair in Cairo, and that's how my mother got here, he said. Yeah, that's how I got this stuff, he said, pointing again to his curly hair. Cairo, how in the world? Yeah, crazy, right? She went there with a friend, and somehow she had an affair there. But I can't say as I blame her. Grandma was single with a baby, and she called the plumber, and he never left. And eventually they married and had 3 kids besides her other baby. I barely believe in my ears, but Austin's demeanor put me at ease because he remained humble and guileless. I wanted to hear more, of course. So was he grandpa to you? Did you two get along? I asked. Oh, yeah, he was just grandpa. I didn't know the story about his being the plumber until he died. He just told grandma, oh, I really like it here. I'm staying. Austin shook his huge head. In Baxley, back then, women didn't have rights. I mean, she could have called the police and said, there's a plumber here and he came to fix something and now he won't leave. And they would have said, well, good for you. And he established himself there, I offered. Exactly, he replied. Anyway, Grandma's doing great. She has 3 acres, chickens running around, and she cooks for herself. Amazed, I asked, at 107, she can still walk? He nodded affirmatively. She can't reach up high and she needs a little help, but my mom drops by there most days, he concluded. So Grandma's pretty much living her best life right now? I said, and he said, yes, especially since Grandpa died. She's really happy now. I asked how long he'd been gone. Oh, about 4 years. I think he was 112, Austin replied. So Grandma has only been truly free since she was 103? Yes, and she looks younger than when he died, Austin said. She's an Aries like me, so hopefully I'll stay young looking too. Grabbing up his tools and phone, he said a firmware update was my issue and he had fixed it. After I confirmed all was well, we shook hands, thanking each other. He stopped for a moment and put his hand over his heart and said, my grandma, she's in here. She is my whole heart. So that's it. I know it's different, but it's true. It's hard to capture when something like that happens. It's like, what?
So he's 25% Egyptian,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's big. He's I don't know what else he is, but
That's
he is a
pretty neat.
yeah, it was pretty neat.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it. Did you have another piece for today?
Um, I have just a little haiku. Poets curve themselves around sharp edges of life, ears honed to listen. Poets curve themselves around sharp edges of life, ears honed to listen. That's it.
Thank you. I did pen a
One
note
long,
for,
one short.
I did pen a note of one possible ending for that story for you.
Yay!
All right. All right. Let's get back to KB Valentine. KB! Oh, this is one of my favorites. Come on. Let's see what you got this time.
Uh-oh. No pressure. Coming to you from East Tennessee, I am close enough that I am looking at the North Carolina border with the Cherokee National Forest. And a bald eagle flew past my house this morning, and I thought I'd share that with you because it was so majestic. All right. Morsels of spring. White flashes blind the sky, gray tumbling from the west. Dogwoods, redbuds blush the woods, softening the mountain. Like some forgotten chant, rain taps the earth, sings awake daffodils, snowdrops, tints hidden during the dark of winter. Days circle into nights unnoticed, drizzle gentling into mist, then gone, sky wide overhead, stars like glass. The second one is called Rain in Parallel Lines. Rain sheens buildings, streets, bits of light fissuring the clouds. Sky, horizon stitched with mist, scales balanced on the equinox. Morning dusted in frost, afternoon blushed with heat. My layers are on, then off, and on again. 7 years of cells twisting, sloughing, flaking before your touch disappears from my body. Masked, unmasked, an implosion of days, starbursts coalescing, expanding, and I am chained to this reality, this chair, this room, the memory of you, this air, this breath. An empty cup waiting to be filled, and rain still licks the panes, fog thick and gathering. And then I will read a poem from my new
What was the last word? I'm sorry. What was the last word? Gather what?
Gathering.
Oh, gathering. Very good. Sorry. Thank you.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you wanted to know. This last poem comes from my new collection all the way through behind me. It's called What Wind Knows. Wind blusters the canopy of trees, clouds bruising a marbled sky. Chimes whirl and sing while the chickadees hide. Yesterday's sun burnished a falcon gliding through the blue, golden feathers stretched wide. I couldn't look away, wildness at large. Today, a different kind of wildness, fury of leaves spattered with rain, gusts mistaken for thunder, rush of wind across my face. These days, each day, a measure of grace, a reminder I am not in control, not of where the light falls, not of the dropping blossoms that look like snow. Breathe in this moment. Now, let it go. Thank you.
We lose Glenn.
Sorry about that. Doug Van Hooser, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to try and share the screen. I've been trying to bring some humor to my poetry here in the last couple of months. So hopefully this will register with you. No one said, "One day I will covet a Porsche, and the trophy will be the same wife. The days I labored will result in a mild Midas touch, but I will never learn how to spend it except for the knockoff golden fleece.
I, a glutton for satisfaction, will find temptation as my Achilles heel. Recognition will steer me like a lighthouse. Envy will drop its Rapunzel hair. I will climb it like a beanstalk into cumulus heights, row and revel engulfed in delusional fog, fail to remember the road taken split many times. Hindsight will make me think the toes I crushed, the fingertips I smashed, the lips I bit have no statute of limitations. Discover guilt has no grave marker. In my memoir, mundane will surrender to mendacity. I will recount stories I imagine, since the real stories are butter knives. And people will realize my Ferrari red hue is embarrassment, not sunburn, and sheepy smile is a mask. Thankfully, the dog knows none of this, unless his tail is lying. I've been using No One Said as a prompt, so I have a whole series of poems that start No One Said. I'll get old and need reading glasses that I will wear while having sex, but they won't help in reading the situation. That my knees will bark like a shih tzu. That's a phonetic spelling that expresses the pain. My attitude will become, I can wear my shirt untucked and not bother zipping up. The bottom of my feet will itch inappropriately so much I will want to file a harassment lawsuit. And I will dump out the pill organizer to use it for fishing flies. When I look in the mirror, my hair will be the only thing reminiscent of youth. Wisdom will not etch my face or answers. Instead of coitus uninterruptus, I will suffer sleep interruptus. The medical evolution will make family doctors extinct and specialist invasive species. Many of my friends' political intolerance will become hot air balloons. But thankfully, the seasons will still uncoil. Winter, an old friend, a shed, beer, two cranky long chairs, fishing poles, and a hole in the ice. Spring serve a buffet of squill, daffodils, and peonies. Summer, a potpourri of water skiing, cycling, and hammock naps. Autumn, a deciduous rainbow. I'll look over my shoulder, scull into the sunset. And one more. I do like her dimples. My new neighbor, a 60-year-old woman with a Grand Canyon smile and pendulum boobs, stops over and asks me if genitals are called that because they ought to be handled gently. Then says I can borrow any of her 198 romance novels at my pleasure. Why couldn't she just ask to borrow a cup of sugar? I bet she's a good bowler, enjoys a brandy old-fashioned and repartee of innuendo. She walks with the sway of a hula dancer and wears dresses printed with flowers, but has the scent of baked goods. Another enticement? I admit I'm a sucker for cinnamon rolls and chocolate chip cookies. Next week, I won't be surprised if she delivers an apple pie. Maybe she's just lonely, thinks I would make a good golden doodle. She'd be disappointed with my attachment to the couch. Or maybe not. She'd put my head in her lap and run her fingers through my hair as Days of Our Lives churned on the TV. Another bet? She has a library of stories stored in her head where Prince Charming is not charming. Men that accepted her invitation, unwrapped the present, ate all the cookies, and slammed her fingers in the door on their way out. But obviously, she is back at the trough, willing to take another drink, searching for someone to bridle and take her for a ride. No doubt in my mind, she might not be able to gallop, but will do her best to canter. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, look at everybody in the chat here blowing up. That's that's really, really enjoyable. Thank you for that. All right. Chris Wood, please.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Very well.
Okay, so I know the prompt was Aries and birthday, but March is actually my anniversary month. So I went with our astrological signs. So this poem is called Oh My Scorpio. It's published in the American Diversity Report. Oh my Scorpio, you are my lover, my impulsive, passionate thrill, tight-fisted and lost in your own turmoil. This Capricorn lives on solid ground, predictable and steady while you raft the turbulent waters, riding wave after intense wave. I pace the shoreline, throwing a lifebuoy, luring you to dry ground. But the waves cocoon you, a false safety net where you hide. You run from the open sky, the moon, the sun that guides my outstretched hand. Our fingers slide past each other. I grab and tug. The current drags you back. I steady my stance, adjust my grip. Thank you. And then these are a couple like spring poems. This one was just published in Dandelion Scribes. The bird that couldn't tell time. Wet noses wade into my slumber, nuzzle my arm. My eyes unclose and I roll in a huff. Tucked between your dreams and dawn, I linger through your next breath, then trudge down the steps and follow the pups out the front door. The moon greets me, a sliver of light thumbnailed above the neighbor's maple tree. A lark sings a morning song, and the stars twinkle in surprise. And this one is published in Abus and Epics. It's called Twilight Pulses. Nimbus clouds shroud and veil sunset. Orange and violet halo shadow the lightning, silent and electric. Fuchsia splashes the evening with memories, ricocheting like electrons across time, scattering images of you. I remember your dark blue irises, shaded darker during storms. I always wondered what was hidden behind those quiet moments just before the sky, bulging and galvanized, gave up and let go. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it possible to stop the screen share? That's what I have. Is it my computer? Thank you.
Okay, you good? All righty. Peter King, did you go already? You did? Okay. I've got you in here twice. I don't know why. Robert Whalen, please.
I was just ahead of the curve. That's all.
You were.
Yeah, I interrupted. Today is really tremendous. Not that it isn't usually, but I'm feeling self-conscious about what I have to share today because everything was so fantastic. One thing I do want to share is I'll put it in the chat quickly, is that there's going to be a poetry festival the weekend after Easter, and one of the venues is going to be an international poetry reading. And so if you want to put in, send to the email that I have there, rockportpoetry@gmail.com, I'll give you a link. And there's also a haiku contest and a sonnet contest, and you can ask more about them there. So I'll leave that there, and I'll try to share. So this is a high one that I just happened to have a picture of. And so seeing as there were pictures today, I'll go with this. It's called Shiseikan. Such hard work. motionless sitting on a floor so polished it mirrors my position. But the grain in the wood distorts the reflection, as would the slightly shimmering surface of a silent pond. Outside, cicadas, having no knowledge of sunlight, emerge after 17 years of darkness, the passage marked only by eating and sleeping. The electric buzz fills the sky with the reverberating hum of a transformer station at the edge of capacity. Inside the dojo, both air and body share the same temperature. The atmosphere is so saturated that my sweat cannot evaporate, so drips with gravity into a puddle on the floor. The wind is still, save for the beating of an insect's wings. I try to make my mind as still as the absent breeze, but it bears the intrusive movement of distraction. Windowed butterfly, fluttering against the glass. Can we both get free? And I'll try to see if I can switch out of this one somehow. And this one to share again. Is it on the screen or do I have to share again?
Can a bridge be built? I can see it.
Okay. Good. I have another haibun, but this is a poem that on the 26th of February, by some weird quirk of the universe, got launched to the moon on a NASA the expedition was to put up some things that would be available if they have a space station. And one of them was a data repository. So it would be the start of the library there. And this was chosen as one of them. There's like 5,000 there at least. Can a bridge be built? Can a bridge be built joining heart with mind? So compassion is seen as logical, where passion won't render reason blind and thoughts inspire the emotional. Can a bridge be built between body and soul, where molecules sway to transcendent music as they dance to make existence whole, and muscle enlightens the body electric? Can a bridge be built that brings hate to love, where opposites learn to tolerate, as acceptance expands through the sky above and dark impulses mitigate? Can a bridge be built to bring life to stone, it spark the zenith of creation, animating skin and bone to endure beyond annihilation? Can a bridge be built to span the flow of time, conceding its course and all its power, flowing from sources so sublime, where eternities drift in every hour? Can a bridge be built across the gorge of death, to pass that height, but know no fear, without clinging to the final breath, and say farewell to all that's dear?
Yeah, the rhythm in that was really spot on. Very nice.
Thank you. The last one is another haibun. Do I have time for it?
Please.
Okay. There was an 8th century Chinese poet who the collection is called Cold Mountain. And this is in the kind of tone of the poems in that. And this is called Cold Mountain Refugees. Bob Moreland has the flag behind him there. You cannot walk over them as if they are a filthy mat to roll up and shake away their will like dried mud. They have freely chosen to bask in a field of sunflowers under the blue of a boundless sky. They have decided to ignore your contorted red tongues, pleading twisted supplications, attempting to convince them that straight ruled lines are more beautiful than winding pathways through woodlands or the random markings in marble. You insist that shards are jewels and charred bent iron is gold. Your help is no good for anything except to leave craters in the earth, plumes of putrid smoke, and holes in crumbling walls where only weeds can grow. Darkness without sleep, flakes whirling in squalls of ash, a blanket of bombs.
All right.
Okay, and I wanted to tell the British friends, I live just about 26 miles north of St. Baltofstone in Massachusetts, and it's right next to Gloucester and Rockport, Massachusetts. So I have no idea where you guys are from. Okay, so thank you.
Feel free to unmute yourself, everyone, all my friends here. That's the end of the poetry reading for this March 2025. Stick around if you want to chime in on the end of the story. And let's talk about writing prompts for next month. So next month, we're going to go with migration. Please no politics, but migration and
Yeah,
sacrifice. Sacrifice, okay? So
sacrifice.
either one or both, if you can weave it in, if you're that masterful. But migration and that ought to be very interesting. And sacrifice. I think it's a good theme for April. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to end the recording now. We'll see you all back here in April.